Hey everyone, welcome back to Two Drink Minimum, a podcast where we tackle various life topics over 2 beers at minimum. We are your hosts. I'm Janet.
And I'm Edwin.
And today we are talking about basicness and being basic while drinking.
When you think about being basic, it's time for a Blue Moon Pumpkin Week, baby!
Yes. So,
let's go. Thank God it's Friday or Fry-yay. We're basic. This is the reason for my being.
This is different than what I would have wanted it to taste like. Generally Blue Moon, in my opinion, does not do a good job when they try to go into, like, Flavor Town, into a specific place in Flavor Town. Right?
It tastes like old cinnamon. It tastes like old cinnamon. Imagine, okay, take a big red wrapper. Okay, take a piece of big red in the silver wrapper, throw it under your couch, come back 3 months later and chew it. That's what this tastes like.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, they're bad. They're bad at doing this. They have an horchata beer, and it tastes also really bad. And like I mentioned in previous episodes, I used to work at a brewery for just a little while, and we had one in the fridge that's like another brewer had like left, or somebody had left, and we all like shared it, and it was awful. And we joked that it'd be like a punishment, like you'd have to go drink the horchata Blue Moon if you fuck something up.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's just like, it's kind of like, yeah, it's a little depressing.
Okay, so
but yeah, it's not good.
Anyway.
But
sorry for my...
Blue Moon's basic, Pumpkin's basic, so we figured
Halloween
two basic things together. But then here's the thing, sometimes it can get too basic. This was too many ideas in this one thing. The execution didn't work.
So we're going to talk about basic. That's just the standard theme for the podcast, which is weird. Basic.
For the episode.
Yes.
Podcast,
the whole podcast.
Basic. I would love to do that.
A basic
cast. We should do that next.
Well, let's do more than...
Like this week in basic news... Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson broke up?
Yeah, exactly. So, basic. It's a term that's been around for a long time. Well, actually, not relatively in history, human history.
But the idea has always been there. We just didn't have words for it all the time.
We use words like whack, but basic kind of came out, I don't know, maybe the mid-2000s, I started hearing people use basic, like, that's whack, like, basic, like, that's not an expansive idea. And as time's gone on, that term has developed its own identity and grew a base of like, oh, these are basic things. I feel like when I first started hearing it, like probably after I graduated high school, it's like 08, 09, 07. It was like, oh, that's just a basic thing. And usually what basic used to mean back then, it used to mean kind of like it was a simple idea or a little bit whack. Now basic's got like a bigger, the term has a wider reach than it did when I first started. When I first, it wasn't as kind of negative. It was like, should we, just go to the pool? It's like, nah, it's basic. That's like a basic idea. Let's go to the beach. It's like same idea. Like, let's just do it better. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like it's got a bigger umbrella of terms, and like there's an identity, a basic person.
There's like types of being basic.
There's like a whole. It's a lot more nuanced than it was when I first started.
There's like the concept of like the basic bitch, and then there's like people trying to like make it less gendered and be like, the bro is the version of basic bit, and like all these different
College Humor
things.
did like a guy can be basic, it's not just a gender thing, and it's kind of funny, and it kind of showed, oh yeah, like we all know this, like the college bro dude, that's basic, like those things are basic.
Basic knows no gender or age.
I think you did a little more work on the definition and stuff, so why don't you break it down for people? What's the define basic?
Yeah, well, the only thing I wrote down was that we would define it, so I didn't actually do much work.
So you're gonna define it,
but I'm still gonna go for it. So to me, I mean, it's a lot of things. It's a really complicated idea at this point, but I'll do my best to kind of give a streamlined definition. We can kind of build one together right here on the podcast. But I would say, without like just consulting Urban Dictionary or something, basic is like something that is almost it can be a guilty pleasure. So something that's so simplistic or so mainstream, not to make it like a hipster thing, but something that's so mainstream, so simple, so like obvious, something that you didn't really put any thought into it. It's like a cop-out way of living is what basic is. So some very quick examples, because we'll give like way more like when we get into the heart of the episode. Right. But like I think a good example actually is when you go to like Target, and they have like the basics, like as a clothing section, and that's not really related to the term, but it's usually like leggings or camis that you wear under your shirts or stuff. It's like, baseline stuff, nothing fancy, things you might like need, but not a lot of thought went into it. A lot of people think of like Starbucks as basic. It's like something that's really like mainstream, no brainer. Everyone knows about this. Everyone does it. It's kind of played out, and it also doesn't really speak to maybe your personality at all. It's like so generic that you can't be like, oh, like something about me, I like Starbucks. It's like, that's really basic. Like, that doesn't tell me anything about you.
It's reached the level of mass consumption, or
it's like it's reached a critical mass and it's built over
or mass acceptance that it's kind of like you can't even, it's not allowed to be part of your identity.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say, hey, I've never been to New York. Where do you like to go? It's like, you know what? I like to go to Times Square. It's like, really? No.
Yeah.
Like, it's way too obvious for that to be.
It also has a somewhat negative connotation, because I would say, like,
sure.
one example that would fit that definition you just gave, but also not be basic, would be like, you live in Chicago, you're like a Bears fan. Like, that's not basic, even though it's something everyone does. Like, that's kind of different, but I think that's a good starting point.
I think the Bears, you already said it doesn't work, but it wouldn't work because most of us don't go to Soldier. If you said, oh, I go to every Bears game, it's like, that's not a basic thing. It's expensive to do, and we all can't do that. I've never gone to a Bears game. So it would be like, oh, that totally would be your identity. Basic would be like, what would be like I like to go to, take pictures at the Bean on a warm day. It's like, really? Like, you live here. Like, everyone goes to the Bean. Like, it's like, that's nothing. Like, you can't claim the Bean as being selfies.
I think the identity,
as part of your identity.
The identity like, part is where like it's not possible to really claim as part of your identity in a unique way. Now, granted, there's plenty of parts of our identities that are very generic. Like, that's for sure. That's also very fine, which is kind of what we have the episode for.
Like football, right? Like, being a football fan is not surprising, but it's not basic in that sense. Not in that way anyway. Where you could be like, oh, Soldier Field, like, that's like an obvious thing to do. It's like, actually, most of us don't. While the Bean, everyone has taken a selfie at the Bean at some point, willing or unwillingly. There's a picture with you at the Bean at some point to some degree. Like, that just
it was the
happens.
ultimate mirror selfie.
Yeah. So, and I think, to go further into the definitions, there tends to be a really negative connotation. I think, not that I brought the basic thing back or something, like, we're taking it back, but like, I think, like you said, it's kind of, you need to be aware of it, and I think that some people are too negative with it. It doesn't have to, it just basic is. It's not, it's almost like we as a society have given this. I'm just calling it basic. Doesn't mean anything about you unless you do too many of this. But it's just, Starbucks is basic. Do I go to Starbucks? Yeah. I go like maybe almost every week. Ooh. Like,
We're kind of jumping into the kind of the meat of it, which is also fine. But like I love K-Cups. That's super basic.
Yeah, like it's fine.
So basic.
The thing is, I don't make that like a huge part of my identity. So I'm now like, I don't feel seen. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a big thing and it's fine. And that's why I'm not celebrating or championing that. Not that I'm hiding that information, but I'm not like, oh yeah, man, Starbucks Monday, let's get it. It's like, that's a little too basic. Like, I can't be waving the baton at that parade. It's too much. But it doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing for you. It just means that it's kind of, a sort of whack thing to do, or a thing that's so popular that you kind of can't say it's like the thing you like to do. Yeah. It can't be like, I just love to go walk around the mall and eat at Sbarro's. It's like our little family. It's like our little Sunday tradition. It's like, that's super whack. Like,
that's super basic.
That can't be your tradition, man. Like, you and everyone else thousands of times a day. Like,
I would sign up for that Sunday at least once, though. Especially when I'm paying for the Sbarro, because Sbarro is really expensive, and it doesn't taste very good.
It does not. The potatoes are okay.
You gotta drop a cool $15 to get the full meal at least.
Well, no, you can get 12 and 8 to 15, it's
really going up there. At that point, you're like, could have worked anywhere.
Yeah, you could have got a real pizza.
That's a good example. The mall is very basic. It's like inherently, everything clusters together.
It's big brands. Everything's clustered together. Really not. I think the genius of the brand of the mall is that they sell you on the idea that you're saving, but you're really not. It's the same price at the store. You can probably get it cheaper in outlet, and with online and like the lack of the shipping savings you can get. I mean, you're not going to go to the, you tell yourself, oh, I went to the store and I got this shirt on sale, but you didn't actually do the research. The shirt probably costs cheaper on Amazon or on the actual website of the store you went to. They just kind of tricked us into thinking, wow, they're all here, make a day out of it,
I don't think you can try this stuff on.
Yeah. Again, but that's kind of the mirage, and that's kind of the whole thing about being basic. It's not like no one told us when these things started, oh, these are basic establishments. It's just they're big, they're made in a certain way to appeal to everyone, and they're a way to kind of streamline things, and that makes it inherently basic. It's not reaching for the pinnacle of whatever it is, right? Like Starbucks is just trying to be a good cup of coffee compared to like a McDonald's and Dunkin', but it's still just like like faux luxury, basically. You know.
Do we want to get more into our examples of like basic stuff that we love?
Sure. Or just maybe some people are like, I still don't understand. So let me say, McDonald's, basic. Starbucks, basic. Hooters, basic. Times Square, basic. Saying you love comic books but only watching the Avengers movie, basic. You know, like New Year's Eve Times Square, basic.
New Year's Eve Times Square is really basic.
That's like alpha omega basic. Let's see. Celebrating Sweetest Day is basic.
That's really basic.
Yeah, it's really basic. It's fine. You love them, but it's basic.
I'd say usually a Vegas gambling trip is pretty basic.
Yeah, Vegas is basic.
Especially if you never...
The entire city of Las Vegas
now we'll know if Jess listens to the podcast or
basic. It's basic.
I would say the Strip is basic. It looks cool on the other parts. But most people just go to the Strip. Yeah, going to Vegas...
If it wasn't for the basic part, it wouldn't exist.
That's fine, because it's a whole economic thing. Yeah. But I would say if you go to Vegas and only go to the Strip, super basic.
Well, that's like, you shouldn't do that even if you do go. I heard they have good museums.
Yeah, I know, a lot of people do. And that's the thing, like, there is cool stuff there.
So Vegas...
But usually you go to be basic. That's the thing.
Yeah, you can go to New York legitimately and not be going to be basic.
Yes.
If you go to Las Vegas for the museum, that's weird. Like, it must be something real. You must be like weird, your craft or something, you know? Like, if I'm going to Vegas, I'm going to do the basic stuff and the cool stuff.
Yeah.
New York, I might just go just to do the cool stuff and forget the basic stuff.
That's a good example of sometimes you got to do the basic stuff.
Yeah, you have to.
Like, that's the point.
If you've never been, now if you've gone, for some reason you're going to Vegas every year, you're doing conferences and stuff, I can totally see where you're like, I don't need to see the Strip.
Yeah.
But if it's your first time there and you don't do the basic stuff, like, what are you doing,
you're
man?
Wasting your
like,
time.
You wasted the whole thing. But it's still basic.
Now we're just being stubborn. Like,
do you have any other basic examples?
None that I can think of offhand. Besides the ones that I have of things I like that I want to give out. I think that's a pretty comprehensive
cool.
one.
So again, if you're a little confused on the basic term, I think everyone understands.
I think some more examples will probably come up as we get into it and think about what it can mean, because it can mean so many different things.
I'll say this.
Yeah, you can also act basic. And
my girlfriend doesn't like when I kind of call things basic because she thinks and I think this was maybe true, I don't know, like 7 years ago or something, where I kind of can be a little snobbish about it, or I used to try not to be basic as much. There was a time when you wouldn't call me dead in a McDonald's or a Starbucks. Now I'm a lot more willing. I let it go. It's not a big deal. But there was a time when I kind of was a little bit snobbish. I was pushing for excellence in so many things that I was just like, I don't need any type of whackness in any way in my life. So I kind of cut out anything that I thought was not pushing for the best.
I had that for a long time.
I wouldn't drink any Blue Moon. I wouldn't drink, Starbucks. I wouldn't go into a McDonald's. I was very I'm supporting my community and only supporting people going for the highest level of everything because that's what I'm going for. And that's cool, but it got to the point where I would get petty and not go to places because I thought it was that basic. It only kind of was like a principle, and that's admirable. Was I was like, really? I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, and just get to McDonald's. Like, why are you being like this? And I kind of caught myself to where I'm like, let that go, man. It doesn't have to be, as long as you're not going too far, like you said before we started recording, where you just go to McDonald's now, and now you just drink Starbucks, and you're not even in your community, then you are being whack. But as long as, it's in moderation and responsibly done, your basicness, it doesn't have to be that serious. I think some people get offended by that stuff. I'm like, well, I mean, it's a basic thing you're doing, but that doesn't mean all aspects of you are basic. And I think that's where,
I know I used the guilty pleasure example, but actually don't, not that I don't believe in guilty pleasures, because I understand the concept and why some people might feel a little embarrassed about certain things they like. I can understand that. But honestly, for me, I'm pretty much not embarrassed about anything I like, so I don't really have, guilty pleasures in that sense. Because everything I like, a lot of times I feel like one of, I guess, I don't want to say my skills because it sounds kind of like head ass, but I was talking to Edwin about this earlier before we started recording on other stuff. I feel like I'm very self-aware, so I know it's basic, and I don't care because I've accepted it and I like it and whatever. Or my guilty pleasures, they're not guilty pleasures. They're things I might know are whack or bad, low quality, but I'm like, well, I like it. And, if you want to say it's bad, I can't fight you on it because I agree, and So I don't really have those as much. But for some quick examples of some basic things I like, definitely McDonald's. I'll skip through that one pretty quick because we already talked about McDonald's a little bit. I love McDonald's. It's like so much fun to me. I mean, I don't go that often either, and I think that actually helps, keep the freshness for me. Though nothing about McDonald's is fresh, but like, I don't go that often. So when I do go, it's kind of like a little treat. It's like, oh man, you know what I want to get like that. Now they got breakfast all day. Once they got breakfast all day, I feel like you can't even.
That was a game changer. That's the only thing I get there. I only get the breakfast.
Mind blowing. I basically only get the breakfast. Sometimes I get something else.
Every now and then I get the chicken strips, even though like dollar for dollar, it's not a good deal.
Also, too, to be honest, with a few exceptions, because sometimes I'll just get it like. It's not too far from my apartment, so sometimes I would just get it on a whim. But a lot of times when I'm getting McDonald's or fast food like that, there's a reason. Yeah. I'm out with my family, we're at the mall, we're on a road trip. Like, it's kind of, it has another, even though it is still basic, like, it has that level of cachet to it that, I'm not going to stop at, like, a nice restaurant when I'm just on a road trip passing through, like, we just are starving, So I like the camaraderie of it, the convenience. It's dirt cheap. It tastes pretty good, even though I know it's terrible for you. So yeah, in moderation, a nice trip to McDonald's is super fun. They got the little kiosk thing now in the Chicago one at least, where like you don't gotta talk to anyone. You just order on there, and then yeah, I love it. It's fun.
I actually don't like the kiosk because it takes people's jobs away.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And people are still confused and like
people are so
still need
confused.
Help. So I'm like, well, maybe later it'll be better.
Yeah,
but at this point,
I wonder
really
if
bad.
This is kind of getting off topic, but I wonder if it ever gets to the point where it really will be okay just having machines because the self checkout, they still got people on there. And then the McDonald's that we have in our neighborhood, they just like had one. And I remember one time I went in there just for water. I was on a run, super basic. Going in just for water is extra basic, but I was really thirsty, so I came in for water. And I was trying to ask them for a cup of water, but they were like, no, you gotta go to the machine. I'm like, bro, I don't want to order anything. I just want some water. But yeah, they're really trying to, but then when I went recently, they just gave up because there were too many people in there, and we, we're in the people in our community give a fuck about doing that. But yeah, I love McDonald's.
No, they're not gonna do that. They don't even have a debit card. Like, I got cash. Like, you can pay through there. Like, I got cash.
You can pay through there.
Yeah, I know, and they're still like, yeah, I got cash.
No, okay, but yeah,
I'm about to put my money in the machine and explain to you where my food is. So yeah, McDonald's.
What's one of your basic? Well, I know you love McDonald's as well, but
did a good amount of them. Hooters, I do like Hooters. Not too much. Buffalo Wild Wings,
B-Dubs is really good, yeah.
Wingstop. All the wing places are basic, unless they're like a local one. Like they're all basic, because like I said, it's not really that good. You just kind of have to be in the mood for it, Hooters trying to be like sexual, but it's not. B-Dubs goes too hard into the broiness. And then Wingstop just tries to be kind of like cheap, but more like neutral. But it's still what it is.
Wingstop is like fake craft beer, where it's like, oh, I'm like not
Wingstop
like Miller.
Wingstop is the Sam Adams of wings, Yeah, they're like, oh, we're hip, we're not broy or trying to sexualize anybody. It's like, yeah, you're just whack, but you're trying to pretend you're like.
I don't think Wingstop is actually pretty good, but it's not amazing. People act like it's super good. It's just okay. Wait, do you love Wingstop a lot?
No, I just mean like, yeah, man, like.
Yeah, I think it's. I'll have Wingstop.
Yeah,
it's a nice time.
But I mean, I don't know if it's a nice time.
Trying to think of some non-food ones or non-chain ones. Let's see. I like Ariana Grande. That's super basic.
I don't think she's okay.
I think it's pretty basic. Well, like kind of like there's certain layers of like pop music and pop culture.
I disagree. I don't think.
Really?
No. Yeah, she's just fine.
No, I think liking her is pretty basic. Because
I don't know what the ratio of people who like her and how basic they are, like how that works.
Yeah, I guess that's tough to tell. But to me, the reason I find it basic, even though I do like her, so this isn't a diss to her necessarily, but she kind of has her persona is very like teen girl aesthetic. So she has she writes like a lot upside down on Twitter, and she has like kind of this like there's something about it that's just very like classically pop, and she's has good vocals, which is also classically pop for like the big like hit stars and stuff. But yeah, I feel like it's just really basic. Like I'll like follow her on social media and stuff. It's just basic. Like I look through like her Spotify of then New York. I just find like her aesthetic and everything. All her her love of emojis. Like I kind of like that she's basic, or that I feel like she does count as like a basic thing to enjoy. But yeah, I would still see that.
Cool. So hopefully that helps people understand even more what basic things we do and what basic things can be. They're obviously not limited to food. They're not limited
Do you
to
have some
movies
non-food
either.
ones?
I think I mentioned like some places like Times Square and Vegas.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
ones that you like, because you haven't gone to any of those.
Yeah, I don't like any of those.
Like, what's something basic that you enjoy?
That's not food?
Yeah, it's not food.
That's a good one.
Okay. Well, as you think about that, I'll give another one. You can try to think while I go through mine. Especially being from Chicago, because our water is disgusting. That Lake Michigan by Chicago, it get dirty as hell. The beach. I love the beach. And I go super basic for the beach, because I know the beach is basic, especially in Chicago, because we're not, like, it's not by an ocean. Like, it's just dirty. So, like, I go all out basic. I get the shades. I get, like, a special outfit. I got my, like, swimsuit on all day. Like, I go real basic for the beach. You know, flip-flops and crop tops, and, like, I go all out. Like, I love the beach because it's, like, an opportunity to be basic, and it's generally fun. I like, you know, going there, and you can, like, toss a frisbee around or whatever, but it's super basic. It's just, like, I don't know, it's very cliche, and it's not, like, especially, like, once again, when we're thinking about, like,
I got
low quality, cool. Chicago beach, like, that's pretty low quality in terms of beaches. This isn't, you know, we're on the West Coast here, like, it's kind of gross.
Okay, so basic things about me. You know, it's funny because I just remembered. I had another idea, but now I'm going to add this new one in, and then I add my old one, even though you haven't heard either of them. So this is great. You know, one time Maggie, I think I asked, like, during, like, a dinner we had, you might have been there. I was like, hey, what's something basic about you that's real basic? And I think Itu's like, I don't have any or whatever. Or said everything, you know, one of those two.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember. Then you mentioned a few things. I'm like, I can't think of any. And I'm just realizing it's hard for me to think of one now. But I just remembered my old one and a new one. Okay. They're kind of combined. Back then I remembered, like, when I got home, I'm like, oh, that's something about me that's basic. I love $1 Million Listings in New York. It's a great show. It's awesome. But, you know, it's basic. It's not super basic, but it's definitely, like, cliche. And they go through their dramas and, like, you know, it's a reality TV show. It doesn't go like Kardashians bad, where they're like fake fighting and staging arguments and like pushing each other. I mean, there've been a few episodes like that, but like out of most of the episodes, I'm not ashamed of watching or showing you. It's like, oh, it's fine, you know, you can tell, you see what I'm talking about, but it's not like, oh, really, this is over the top. Like, no, they don't get over the top. And they've really grown as actual people, so it's been cool to watch, like, as the years go by. But yeah, it's super basic, you know. And you're watching, like, you know, what do I know about $1 million sellings of buildings, you know, like, you know, it's kind of like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're just a regular person watching these $1 million homes. But, you know, I do love architecture. It's kind of like that would definitely be a passion project I don't have the passion for. In a different world where I knew how to do anything like that, I would love to do architecture. I love architecture and interior design. It's amazing to me. That's why I like the show. Because I'm like, oh, I like that. And then I like the guys. And yeah, it's, even though it's basic, I like it. Another thing is I like shows like that on Netflix. I'm a big-time Netflix dude. I should get a black shirt with the Netflix logo now I think about it. I'm sure I can find one on Etsy. See, doing stuff like that's basic. Yeah, I like those shows. Like, I like
says Marathon.
I like Property
like
Brothers.
The
you know, like Property Brothers is dope. There's Small Spaces or something like that on Netflix that's really good. So I like those kind of shows.
On that note, if you like Great British Bake Off, that's basic. Like, that show is basic.
I do follow a Twitter account called Bake Off No Context, and it kind of sexualizes the show. Just out of context, it takes the things and they'll be like, oh, this hole is wet and stuff. And it's just like them making a cake or something. But like, you just, you know, they just screenshot it. They just screenshot it and like, and I just follow that account. It's great. Definitely.
Is that basic? It's a very, like, it's like niche or something.
Yes, it's neat. Yeah, now you're getting very specific, like basic in like a different type of.
Well, that's like the spin-off basic or something.
Well, you kind of mentioned that, like, following Ariana Grande's Instagram is basic. That's one of the things you mentioned. You mentioned her and that being an attribute of it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like the level to which like you enjoy it too, because like, you know, you could be like I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a stan of her. It ain't that deep right now. Like, but I enjoy her to the level where it's like, this is basic. Like, I'm over here, you know, like. You know, and I don't like that with for a couple of big female artists. Like, I'm over here like, oh, Cardi B went live. Like, let me go. Like, that's kind of basic. It's a little basic. What's up?
No, I'm looking for that Bake Off. No.
Oh, great.
No British Context Bake Off. It's the name of the Twitter account. It's got 106,000.
It's pretty funny. That's good.
So you look like, wow, that's hard. Okay. You know, show the people.
You might have to tap the screen to make it go.
Well, I don't think you can see. Okay, yeah. But yeah. So anyway, the @ is @
you know what?
No Context GBBO, all one word. Yeah, and it's really hilarious. Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
just greasing these balls.
My God.
So yeah, again, it's just them. It's just that basic with like a subculture of basic.
Even following that account, I think that's like obscure basic or something.
Yeah, it's like, what do you know?
Let's see.
You're saying if you find that account and you see that I'm following it, you'd be like, what? You know, like that's what that is.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
I guess other basic things. Bad beer, but that's. I mean, I feel like that's pretty normal.
I feel like bad beer is not basic. I feel like Blue Moon is basic. If it's like
beer trying to be good.
Yeah. Limerita is basic. You know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think like that obscure.
There's people who just they don't like that indie stuff. They're not trying. They think that's head ass or whatever. They don't want to try. They're like, you know what? Just give me Corona. Give me Miller. Give me Guinness. Like, I don't want your little like your uncle made this in his house. For 15 hours, with his dirty hands. I don't want that stuff. I want stuff that's clean and in production and fine. So I wouldn't say those things are basic, but I would say, Blue Moon is basic. This Blue Moon thing like this.
Super basic.
Limerita, Captain Morgan, just like stuff like, well, okay, now you're just being like Smirnoff, like just.
Smirnoff is very basic.
If it's like flavored, if it's too big for what it is. You got these big jugs of like Smirnoff vodka. It's like comes in plastic. It's not even glass. It's like this is mass produced, but it's mass produced like geared towards basic and at a very cheap cost because it's very bad in a plastic wrap. That lets you know this is like you've gone to the next level. You didn't just get some cheap vodka. You got like Smirnoff vodka. Like, this is for like high school kids to like make out after homecoming. Like, that's what this is for. Or so I've heard. I didn't go to homecoming, so I was already at the after party. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So again, so that's what makes that basic. It's like, yo, come on, man, you can't be doing that. You come on. You couldn't just spend the $3 and get a regular bottle of vodka, but you're basic, so that's why the money was no issue for you.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if I can think of any other ones, or do you have ones that you think of for me, or vice versa? I'm trying to think if there's any. Maybe like some of the. Not really some of the games, because I feel like games is kind of already a niche in itself. It's
video games.
Kind of hard to be super basic with that, unless you only played like. I feel like I only play Madden every year or something. That's a little basic, but like you play enough games, I feel like it'd be hard to say that you.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything like that for you. It
yeah,
really matters.
Sure,
I mean, you already.
I'm sure we're missing like plenty of stuff, but it is hard to kind of like think of like everything I do, on any given day, like what's basic, what isn't. I think that's most of what our basic stuff is for the most part. Of like the quick ones that come to mind. Yeah.
So what are the dangers? Why does this matter? Like, so what? So what's the point of this? Like,
oh, well, there's actually like, I think of the episode, there's like 2 points. So like one of them is, I think like you should, own your basicness and be okay with saying that's basic.
I'm talking about the dangers.
No, I know, but I want to still like, because you're like, oh, what's the point of this? I'm like, well, I don't think the point of this is like a cautionary tale, but like, yeah, it's like, I think it's important to identify what's basic and own that because, it's part of you and it's part of all of us to some extent. I can't imagine anyone on earth not doing something that's basic. And if they are, they're probably like so snobby that they're like a different type of basic, like a personality basic or something. But I think it's also like important to make sure that you're not too basic, because if you're too basic, you just become like literally in general a basic person. And the drawback of that, I feel it sounds so prescriptive.
What does
that
like, mean?
Yeah, it would be like all of your experiences and tastes are canned and mass produced. And, not trying to, I know, even though, like, the whole, like, hipster meme joke thing has kind of died off quite a bit since, like, that kind of stuff was in mainstream conversation, it's important to have experiences that feel a little bit more unique. Obviously, humanity's existed for a while, so it's kind of like, not everything's unique. Most things are technically not, right? But, like, that, you branch out, you try new things. I think that's the other thing, too. If everything you do is basic, you're probably not really having new experiences, because it would be really hard to, like, you're like, I went to Niagara Falls, and then like you have to hit all the major landmarks, and even at that point, if you start doing enough of those, it's kind of cool, they kind of like almost reverse
it. I think you were right there with it. I wouldn't have veered off that way, like, not all of them, but it's like you're only going to New York. This is your first trip, or you don't know if you're gonna come back, whatever. It's, let's say you're from Sacramento, and like that's across the country, you ain't gonna be here all the time. To just hit that up, unless you have a time gap, like you only got 2 days or something, it's like you're missing out on. You're already getting the default, what's already set up for you, right? Like the McDonald's, the Starbucks. That's already like the world's kind of decided. Hey, well, here's Walmart, here's Target, here's McDonald's, here's Starbucks. Eat it here, dress here, be done. And it's fine to use those things to your advantage because they work at a different scale and provide a different service. But if you're not actually going out there to see the other stuff, you're not creating your own. Like you said, you're letting the world kind of guide your experience, and you're not really digging deeper. Mm-hmm. You will have a layer of an experience because it's already preset for you, but you're not going to have a deeper, better one. It's almost like you don't know what you're missing. You're not going to see the other boroughs. You're not going to see the other things, whatever things you're passionate about. If you're like, I'm really into fashion, you're not going to see that stuff. You just go to I went to the Coach store. It's like, yeah, but that's not how the fashion world works. It's much grander and bigger. You're in New York. It's like one of the fashion capitals of the world. There's a lot of boutiques and little
going
stores
somewhere
you can
that's
go to.
Buying something from an American store when you're overseas is basic.
Right, exactly.
Like when I went to, I think I told the story already, just a quick introduction on the podcast before, but when I was in high school, I got to go to Paris with my school on like an art trip or humanities trip. And someone there bought something at Zara, and we're like, that's so basic. Because, like, we have Zara in Chicago. The Paris Zara is not different. And, like, I get, like, if you want to buy something, it's like...
if you need some socks and you're like, hey, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, I kind of, like, it's weird because there's, like... It's weird to, like, be like, oh, that's wrong or something. But it's like, why... You're, like, wasting your time and your money. Like, of all the things to buy, you can buy that anywhere. You can ship it. It reminds me of Bourdain,
rest in peace. He mentioned once in one of his books, he was in Italy for the first time, and he was desperate for food. Like, he just got off the plane and all that. And he really hates, like, the mass-produced stuff, so he definitely would be against our, like, moderation. Like, nah, fuck that. But he almost went to the Starbucks. He's like, I just want something real quick. And then he's like, no, I won't have my first coffee until you start. I'm going to have to just find, I don't care where, even if it's a bad shop. I can't go to Starbucks. I didn't fly all the way to Italy for Starbucks. So he just, like, he toughed it out. And he finally found somewhere. It's like, no, man, I can't have the skim venti chai with the croissant here, So yeah, that's the problem with it. You want to experience more. Letty Vlogs commented on our stuff recently, kind of asking us questions and stuff, and she's taking a trip to France, and that was kind of my thing. Is like, go find the other things. Like, I don't need to tell you, because she was asking me for advice, but I have never been, so I don't know where to drink or eat at, because I haven't been there, and I don't know it enough, or know people who've been there enough to kind of give suggestions.
Do you know where in France she's going? She's going to Paris?
I think Paris, but I'm not sure. So that's,
Latin corners were like
that's what I was like. That was my thing. It's like, you need to go do the research to find the other stuff. You already know the Eiffel Tower,
Shakespeare and Company bookstore.
Yeah, that stuff. Like, you need to look and see one things you're interested in, and two, go to the blogs, the personal ones, go to the Reddits, go into the communities and find out what people are doing, what they suggest, what things correlate with your interests. You're not, whoever you are, any person besides, just Letty, but anyone else going anywhere, you're not actually that basic. There's things you like and there's things you're interested in. Find them in those worlds and explore them in different ways that you can't usually get to because you're not there, and enhance your experience. Don't let hit up the tourist spots. I do too. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm not just going to hit up the tourist spots. I make sure that I plan out, okay, this is a basic day. We're going to go here. We're going to go there.
Yeah, and then
we're going to do the other stuff.
A really good way to organize it, and that's where, like, the self-awareness comes in. Not that, like, sometimes that doesn't all fit in one day, and you do need to spread it out for location reasons.
Yeah, definitely.
But, like, when you're traveling somewhere, knowing, like, being able to identify what's basic helps you balance your trips and experiences more, because you're like, okay, well, this is basic. I'm going to throw in something non-basic, I'm going to, it might be something like, when we went to San Diego. What's something basic we did in San Diego? It's not as mainstream of an area, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, there's not really a basic thing we did. We went to SeaWorld. That's really basic.
SeaWorld is super basic, yes. Basic. Okay, so like,
that was the whole point of the trip, actually. Yeah, it was for my dad to see the problematic whales.
Yeah, so
whales show.
Okay, well, like, that was kind of our basic day, I would say, because we went to SeaWorld, we went to the zoo, it was very, like...
I think those were separate days.
Okay, well, whatever.
Well, SeaWorld has, like, zoo elements because they have, like...
Oh, I thought they were same day. No. Anyway, the point is to, like...
San Diego Zoo was dope.
To sparse it out. Yeah, it was nice.
Because that was part of their whole, like, that little beach park thing and all that stuff, yeah.
Balboa Park.
Yeah, I don't remember the name, so I was like, yeah, that was the beach park.
But yeah, making sure that, like, okay, well, maybe, we went to SeaWorld, but let's go somewhere interesting for dinner, right? Like, let's not, like, also go to, like, Fridays or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or, like, remember the time I was just tired, and I'm like, let's just go eat a bubba gum shrimp, and you guys were like, no, I think we were in Cali that time. I'm like, I don't care, just eat somewhere. And you guys were like, no, we're not going to eat a bubba gum shrimp where the fish is frozen when we're in the freaking West Coast. Like, it's not going to happen. We're going to eat somewhere else. And I didn't want to go like I was in the mood for it. I'm just like, I don't care. Even right now,
everyone loves bubba gum shrimp.
I've never gone.
He talks about it all the time.
No,
so
I
tried to dress basic for this too. I have a plaid shirt and hoop earrings. I tried to, like...
I did not dress basic.
You are dressed basic, though, because you have your Lakers shirt on, right?
That's just the
The
haters.
Lakers is basic.
The Lakers aren't basic.
If you don't live in Los Angeles and you're wearing a Lakers shirt, that's basic.
I'll take the flag for that. That's fine.
That's basic.
I mean, I'm gonna take the flag.
That's LeBron's team now, right?
No, it's
Is LeBron on that team?
He's on the team, but it's not his team.
Yeah, that's basic. You're on a team that LeBron. You follow LeBron everywhere he goes, or what? That's basic.
I don't do that.
You follow LeBron, then why you root?
Oh, if you follow, I root for the Lakers, and the Lakers are there before him, and they'll be there after him, and they're gonna survive without him. And they won 16 championships without him. They have plenty of statues of players that aren't him. You don't.
Standing the Lakers in your far away is basic.
You don't. No one owns the Lakers. Like the Lakers are an entity too big for someone to just co-op that way. You become a part of the community and a member of the community. So you get your facts straight.
Super basic. So people get really into the basics that they care about, which is fine. That can be your passion, being basic. But the point is, Edwin doesn't just like the Lakers, and that's why it's okay.
I take a lot of crap for being a Laker fan. And the thing is, it doesn't matter
when you move, it'll be less weird.
No, people will still take. It's just how it is. It'll always be. That's what being a Laker fan is, because they're such a great team. You just gotta you're gonna take the hits for all the winning and all that stuff. That's just how it is. It doesn't matter. I could move and find out that Jeannie Buss is actually my long lost stepmom, and they're still gonna be like, that's just. I know what I got myself into when I like the team. In some ways, I wish it wasn't my life, but it is my life. There's blogs about that on my Medium that you can check out, which sounds basic right there. Because this wasn't my reality until like 2 years ago. But
yeah, I think
it is, and you gotta deal with it. So
yeah, like basic's different than cliche as well. Though there's.
And I will say, in defense, since you came trashing the Lakers on the podcast, I wasn't gonna bring them up. But since you did, I will defend them. As much as people give me crap for it, I've been and know of a lot of communities in a lot of sports. There's no comparison to the Lakers community. The friendships, the bonds, the relationships, the Reddits, it's better than any other sport that I've been involved in. L3, Pumas, Bulls, Bears, they're phenomenal. They're great. So people are always like, oh, it's a bandwagon just because of championships. And, the community I've seen...
Now you sound those people defending their sorority. They're like, my sisters were the greatest women I've ever known.
I don't know about sororities.
They were strong. They were...
Where are they now?
Independent.
Where are they now?
They have great jobs.
They got a man and 2 kids, and they don't got any job.
Anyway.
So that I'll let me just say that, then we'll move on from this is not a Lakers podcast, but, you got to go trashing my boys. They come from me.
Hey, nothing wrong being basic. There's nothing wrong. It is a little basic, though.
No.
You admitted it yourself.
I didn't say it's basic.
I
said that, we'll go back.
Yeah, we'll go back and see.
Oh, we'll go back? I mean, I'm saying, I'm going to get that,
Yeah.
I understand why people say that for that. I would disagree, but, like I said, you're going to get crap for it just because of the team, so it's fine.
But yeah, I mean, I think that basically covers, just to recap or remind people, because I know we got on a little bit of a tangent there, but, the dangers are, limiting your experiences to things that don't really require a lot of thought and aren't really, going to be, this sounds kind of mean, but interesting. I think it is, Yeah,
I don't want to hear about your trip to Times Square. It's fine, and I think it's cool to go. I'm not going to care.
When, Edwin's girlfriend Maggie, she went to, she has been inside the Statue of Liberty and stuff like that, and I think that stuff is cool and, important's kind of strong, because I don't really vibe with the Statue of Liberty that much, but she's a history buff, so I think that kind of stuff means a little bit more to her than it would to me. I think that's cool, but, I'm not gonna be, that interested in hearing about it. Maybe, a little bit, because, I'm like, oh, what's it like inside of it? But, what's it like inside of it? It's like, oh, it's small as fuck. Okay, whatever. But...
It's funny, because she's a rather large woman, so... The Statue of Liberty. It's huge.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about Maggie. I was like, wow, that's rude. Yeah, so
they had to bring it in pieces because it was too big. It's not really gonna
make for even if you want to think of it in terms of basic reasons to care about not being super basic, it creates less interesting stories or things to share, and it makes your perspective also less helpful to other people because it's like, oh, you've been in New York, where do you recommend going? It's like, oh, I loved it's like that clip from The Office with Michael. I'm gonna get me a New York slice, and he goes to Sbarro.
And Dragon Sbarro. That's 2 in the podcast.
Yeah, exactly right.
Base, double base.
That's how. But the thing is, and that show knew that was basic, or chains were kind of basic.
It was so whack. It's like, really, you went to New York to go to Sbarro, and it's like, really you.
But yeah, I'd say that's the major drawback on it.
Yeah. So to conclude, That's what being basic is, and it's okay to be basic sometimes. It's okay to have things that, you know, if you like.
Certain holidays are just inherently basic. 4th of July.
If you like Fast and Furious movies, that's totally fine. I'm just saying, make sure you get the other, the yin and the yang. Make sure you get the other experiences. You know, watch other movies, watch other films, or do other things. If that's like your basic things, like, oh, I just watch the big movies. Well, maybe, you know, experience other things that are indie. You know, like, I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm also like, you know, I like the Chicago Sky, and I like MLS, and I support Liga MX, and like, you know, it's not all one or the other. I'm not like this hipster who only checks out nothing but things no one knows about. But I'm also not someone who's like, oh, my favorite movie of all time was Infinity War, and I'm a Lakers fan, and like I love the Cowboys, and like, you know, Hooters is the best. It's like, okay, now you've gone too much of those things. Like, you're not multifaceted. You're not like, there's no depth to you. You're almost like just like all the buzzwords, like you're like the trending topics on Twitter or something. It's like, what the heck's going on? So you have those things. If you want to call this basic, fine, I have that, but I have other things that are definitely not that and are just interesting things to me. And it's important to have that stuff because, like I said, you want to have a balance in life of like a wide range of different topics and things you're interested in, and the varying degrees of popularity. Don't just do stuff because it's popular, but also don't just avoid it because it's popular. Because like that's your truth. Like, yo, if you really like going to McDonald's, I mean, kind of embrace that, but make sure you're doing other stuff then, and definitely don't go too much because that's like literally it's bad for you. But you know, if you really like it, you're like, man, I just love getting that McFlurry, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, all right, that's cool.
I was really into the Shamrock
maybe
shake for a while, but then
you know, do that, but then maybe, you know, go to a farmer's market or something. You know, like try to balance it out, do other things, experience other places. Make sure in your community, whatever that is, you're going to like the mom and pop places and you're like seeing what else is out there that could be for you. So.
Yeah, that's good advice. So thanks for checking this out, guys. You can follow us across all social media platforms. Our handle is, I think, basically the same across all of them. It's ENJ2 Drink Men. It's 2 as in the number 2. That's N as in the letter N. So it's ENJ2 Drink Men. And we will catch you guys here next time for our other podcast. But before we totally head out, be sure to let us know in the comments or on social media what things you love that are basic. What are some favorite basic things that you have that you really embrace? And maybe even toss in, like, you know, what's some, I guess, non-basic things that you like. If that list is hopefully longer.
Try to give us a basic thing and a non-basic thing.
Yeah, like so. a little bit of a mix, maybe from the same tier of whatever the topic is. But yeah, so we'll see you guys here next time we come through. Thanks for checking us out. Bye.
Bye.